Yeah. Still now we have seen so many stories. So now I can go for the outline diagram, flow diagram for the protocol process. So once you have submit the form B, CPSA form, you can go for the guidelines, means you can get the form B. So once you are write the form B, it must be discussed with veterinarian. It's a better. Otherwise, pharmacologist, we can minimize the error. What are the things has been possible to remove? That all those things has been. Then you have to submit to the Institutional Animal Ethics Committee. So the IAEC minimum per year, they are minimum conduct the meeting for at least 2 times. It may differ based upon the institution. So for that meeting, you have to propose the submit your proposal. In IAEC meeting, they have scrutinized your proposal. You have to present your proposal. They are asking so many questions. You have to convince them. Then you can get the approval. So once you are submit to the IAEC, 3 chances there. First one is no doubt, no. You have clarified all those things. Your proposal has been approved. We can start the experiment. For smaller animals, the large animals is totally different. For smaller animals, otherwise, second one is they are asking so many questions. You can't able to convince them, so they are asking for revision. So for that revision, either major revision or minor revision. So the minor revision done by the principal investigator, discussed with veterinarian. So once again, you have to submit to the IAEC committee. Once they are satisfied, means they will give the approval. You can start the work. Otherwise, still they are not satisfied, means going to. Otherwise, the third chance, in first submission itself, they are rejected. Only 3 chances there for the smaller animals. If it is the larger animals, the scene is totally different. Because the IAEC is capable to give the enough power to give the permission for animal experimentation for smaller animals, like a rat, mice, guinea pigs, so many things. But it's a larger animals, the IAEC is not having a power to give the permissions. They have to submit the form into CPCSA. So the CPCSA is going to decide whether the proposal is okay or not, whether they give the permission, whether they give the approval, all those things decided by the CPCSA. So this is the overall protocol process. So next we can go for the what are the problems we are normally going to face during the applications. So here I am going to explain about what are the questions they are asked, what we are commonly written. Once we are blankly written all those things, means during a presentation, IAEC presentations, we can't able to answer all their questions. So before filling the applications itself, we have to know all those things. What is the background? Why? Simply you can't write not like application form. So you know the background of each and every parameter. Based upon that, you can write the applications. Okay. So now I can go for the what are the phases, what are the issues we have commonly facing during the application writing. Otherwise, during presentation, how we can resolve all those things, I can explain with this. So the first one, this is a form B. The first you can explain the first 3 things as project or dissertation title and the principal investigator or research scholar, conduct details. The next one is who is to whom you are authorized for conduct the procedure for this proposal. So these are the 3 things which comes under the almost the same category. So in form B, first 1, 2, 3 category, common consensus. What the thing is that you are going to write mostly, we are given so much of technical titles. CPC is having a commons of scientist fellows, but at the same time, the person who is nominated for the non-scientific background. So your title must be self-explanatory, please. So your title must be self-explanatory form. Then contact persons, principal investigator, and to whom you are authorized to do the experimentation. To mention the contact details, because once you are doing the animal experimentations, if any emergency, you are just administer the drug. After that, you are monitored 3 hours or 4 hours. After that, you can come back for your home. So in case that time the animal has been having any emergency, means same, it's treated like the same human emergency. For that time, we have to contact the either principal investigator, otherwise authorized person. So what the problem is there, mostly as a principal investigator or any authorized person, student, whatever it is. So there are a multiple number of phone numbers, contact numbers. One is considered for the personal, one is considered for officials. So once we are trying to reach them, the official number is never they are going to reach after office time. So that case, you can give the emergency contact number. It must be available for the all in time. So either it's a principal investigator number or student number. So this is the three categories. Next one is, fourth one is funding sources. You have to mention the funding sources because from this data, they know whether the study is capable to complete, how much fund is required for to complete this project. So this fund is available for either the self-funded or any funded project from the funding agency. All those data you have to give. In fifth one is duration of project. So 4 and 5 common concerns. 4 and 5 common concerns. You have to reveal the funding sources, and you have to explain the study period, how much duration of project is there. So you have to mention either which funding source you have been available, either DSC, various funding sources. Otherwise, you have got any fellowship, ARF or SRF. Otherwise, nothing, sir. I am doing my PhD project, so I am going to self-funded. You can explain. So you have to mention all those things in form part 4. The next one is duration of the project. So here most of them they have made the mistakes. What they think, maybe they have a protocol, they have to treat the animals for 28 days. So 28 days treatment, they can, after that they have sacrificed the animals, they can go for the biochemical parameters. So what they are mentioned, the duration of project is 28 days. So it's never. So the duration of project is totally different because even you can get the 28 animals, you can't to perform all those animals from the administration itself. It's not possible for the single stretch. So the duration of project is totally different. So those things I can explain in further slide. The at last 6. The 6 is going to deal about the your protocol. So here also same, you no need to explain for full scientific terms. You have to write that scientific background in newspaper language because you know that the scientific, non-scientific, socially aware member also there is the person to arise the question for all and every places. Every nook and corner is asking the questions. So your protocol must be understand for that fellow also. At the same time, it must be satisfy the scientists also. So you have to write in scientific terms in newspaper flow. That is very mandatory. Next we can go for the animal requirements. So in part 7, you are going to give all the details, almost all the details, too much of data about the animals. Which kind of species, which kind of common name, age, weight, sex, gender, number of animals, all those things you can do. So once you can go for this fill the part 7, you must be aware about the knowledge. So this all those knowledge you can get from the, not only get from the literature survey, you have to upskill your animal science knowledge also. So better you have to discuss with any pharmacologist or veterinarian. So before this, fill the columns. Even you can get so much of plenty of knowledge from the literature survey. That's it. Also, it's not enough to fill this part. First, because why I'm saying is species common name. If you are going to, sir, I'm going to use the rat. Which rat? So many types of strains are available. If it is mice, also different strains are there. Rabbit, guinea pig. So many strains are available. So not only based upon literature survey, you have to choose based upon the available sources, based upon the accommodation, animal facilities, you have to choose the animal. So that is first criteria. Next, age, weight, sex. So these are the 3 things, including gender also. Next column. It has been decided based upon what you are going to do in protocol. So age, important factor. Once you are going to do for adultery, Once you are going to for the nutrition types of research means you have to choose the pups, because you give the nutrient for the grow of the animals, so you can easily found it. At the same time, you are going to do such kind of like a diabetes. So for that category, you have to take the adult animals. So adult rat is capable to good mimic to for the human, so it produces better result. Weight also. So weight of the animals also is one of the main reasons for affect your data. So the same thing I said, nutrition research, otherwise cardiovascular problem related or obesity related studies means the weight is one of the parameter. So you have to choose the correct weight animals. That's six. Next one is, yeah. Based upon the studies, either you have to choose male or female. So example, you have going for conduct the study for teratogenetic effect means you can go for female. So at the same time, your studies has been fluctuate the hormonal imbalance. Female is whenever is going for the menstrual is going to fluctuate the hormonal fluctuation. It may affect your studies. Means that time you can go for the male. So based upon your studies, you have to choose the animal. The same thing, gender. So gender also has been decided based upon your studies. Once you can, I have mentioned here toxicity studies. Once you can go for acute toxicity studies, they are mentioned only for female animals. So based upon the studies, you have to choose the gender and animal sexes. So next one is number to be used. Number to be used. How many number of animals you want? So what the problem is, most of them they are simply right, sir, I need 120 animals for my studies through my studies for 1 year, so I can do all those things. So I need 120 animals. You don't write like that. So you have to split up the animals requirement. Sir, I am going to, for each group, I am going to for 6 animals. So I am going for them the triplicates. So I have 6 samples. So mostly I need around 108 animals. For the pilot studies, also I need 12 animals, because before going to the studies, I have one pilot study to avoid the error means. For that reason, I have 12 animals. So totally, I need 120 animals. Means they have you have justified that they may be satisfied with your answer. They can go for sanction the animals. So don't blindly mention the numbers. You have split up. You can add annexure. You have add the annexure sheet. You can split up the all those data. That data must be satisfy or justify your answer. So the number of animals fixed are determined by the sample size. For the simple calculations, based upon the standard error value or standard deviation, what you have expected. So based upon that, you can identify the n value, the sample size for each group. So based upon that, you can propose the animals. Otherwise, you can calculate the power value. So whenever they are asking why you need the 120 animals means, we can say, sir, I have calculated the power value. Based upon the power value, I can this much animals is required for better significant for statistical interpretation means. That time they have satisfied with your answer, you have justified that. So based upon power value or n size, you can code the animal, because the power value it's going to give the reliability significant of your results. You can see here 6 per group means the reliability is 70 power value. If it is the same 12, each group size is 12 means the power values are almost increased 94%. So the power values is directly proportional to the sample size. So whenever you can increase the sample size, it's going to give the better power value. The power value is high means it's indicating high significant statistical. So you have to say all those things based upon this data. You can mention the numbers. Don't blindly write based upon the literature survey. Those the article they mention 120 animals. So for that sake, I need 120. You never mention like that. So the next one is proposed. So sorry, number of days each animal will be housed. So the same things I have explained in yearly state. Your study period is maybe 28 days, but the duration of project is not 28 days, because even you can brought animals from the in-house. Same, your animals also is having a breeder license. They have been brought from the same animals also. You have to cage the animals. You give the time to acclimatization period. That's called as acclimatization period. So the animal will be acclimatized and you are considered into your group. That period is 7 days for in-house animals. If you brought from other animal breeders means First, you have to quarantine the animals for 7 days because that breeder not maintaining well, otherwise they are having any infection means it's going to spread out into your colonies also. So first 7 days you have allow for the quarantine, then next 7 days you can allow for the acclimatization, then only you can allow into the your treatment protocol. Okay, even the treatment protocol 28 days means 17, 28, so total 35 days is, that's also not a project duration of project, because for the understanding purpose I can say, maybe you can perform some surgical procedure. So first you can do some surgery to induce something else, then after that you can allow for the heal, then you can perform the experiment. Means you can't able to do the surgery for all the animals in single stretch. So surgical procedure is too tedious process. So each and every process will take a time. So for each animal it takes plenty of time, 2 to 3 hours. So how it's possible if you are having a 20 animals or 30 animals? How is possible to done all those things in a single day? So you have to split up. You have to bring the animals for 6 animals for first month. The second group you can bring for the second animal. You can perform all those things. You have plenty of time. So the duration of project is considered about all those parameters, not only for the study period. So most of them they are done this mistake in animal. Next, proposed source of animals. Part 7F. So I said earlier, if it is in-house animals, you have animal house, they are having a breeder license, they are also breeded. So many plenty of animals is available. Means you can simply give the farm, you can get the animals from the in-house. So for that sake, no problem at all. So you can give the farm, then utilization, then you can brought the animal, allow for the acclimatization. But if you brought for the outsource means, the outsource must be approved by the CPCA breeder. So CPCA breeder license is mandatory. From that source only you can bring the animals. Once you brought the animals, you can allow for the quarantine. Because the breeder, they have to maintain all those parameters, what they are mentioned by the CPCA, they have to follow all those things. They have maintained the environmental control, housing of animals. So many techniques are there, individual housing, transfer housing, bedding material, so many things is there. So they have maintained all those things, which is guidelines, various guidelines, they have followed the various guidelines. Based upon that, they have maintained the animals. So if it is example, ISO guidelines means they have periodically they can go for the health monitoring every 3 months or every month or every 6 months. They can go for periodical evaluation. Whether they are infected with any other bacteria or virus, really the animal is, the external morphology is good, but whether internally they are having any infection is there, all those things they have checked periodically. It's differ from each and every animal, mouse and rat, it's totally differ. So these are the guidelines is given by the different federations. What I have displayed here, this is comes under the FELASA recommendations. So based upon that, they have followed all the guidelines, they have done all the tests. So they have maintained the healthy animals. From those fellows, you can brought the animals. Even though you can't assure that it's not contaminated, so for that sake, you have to quarantine the animal for 1 week. So this is the part 7. So you have the most of the knowledge or most of the discussion is coming to this part. So next one is 8. Rational of animal usage. So in 7 part, you can say all the animals, what kind of species you want, all those things. Here you have to justify that. What is the mandatory? Here, the same thing. Why the animal species, particular animal is necessary? You can't say, sir, based upon the literature survey, I can't check it. That's not a good answer. At the same time, sir, we are the expert in the studies. We have done so many things, so many diabetic studies in our lab. So we are expert. We can do routine work on this. That's also not justified. So you have to justify the rational usage of animals based upon which kind of research. So which kind of research article, which publisher, which year. So you have to enclose all those data for the justified yourself. The next one is species and strain. Yeah. So I said in the from the animal procurement itself, you have to mention which kind of species, which kind of strain. Based upon your studies, you have to choose what they are mentioning in part 7. So why mostly what the problem is, they are writing very colloquial manner. We record the mice because they are in cheap, we can easily breed, easily available, affordable price. Don't write such kind of things as in. So you have to explain in some professional manner. So mice are necessary because we will able to direct references. There are large number of database we have to work it out. So we have refer so many things. So it's very suitable for our study. For that reason, I'm going to apply for this strains. You have to justify that. And also, you can add some technical terms. What are the technical terms? So we have brought the animals for inbreeding, outbreeding, random breeding. So we have brought the inbreeding animals. So it's a very homogeneous population. So it's very reproducibility is very good. So I have taken the inbreeding animals. So for satisfaction, you have to know some basic terms, and at least you have to understand some basic terms and scientific backgrounds. And if you know the mating process means, we can explain those things also. At last, justification. How many number of animals you have taken, you have justified based upon the power value, and otherwise you can explain based upon the split up of your use. You have to justify the research. And the same 8th part itself, you have to consider this 3RS or 4RS, 5RS principles. So how much animals is possible to replace? You have to replace or reduce the numbers. Possible to reduce means you can reduce. Refinement, how much possible to you can enrich the animals for well-being, you can give. And rehabilitation is once after the studies, animal will be survive means, otherwise no terminal method means animal will be available. So what kind of rehabilitation you are going to with the animals, and how you can reuse, our responsibility you having for the animal welfare. All those things you have to be aware with this farm page. So pilot studies, technical terms as well. Before going to studies, I need this many number of animals for the. I don't want to kill all the animals. So for that purpose, I need some 12 animals for the pilot studies. During the enrichment program, during the studies, the animal has been any pain will be there means I can use this drugs, analgesic drugs to reduce the pain. Otherwise, non-invasive process. Animal has been face the severe pain during the process means. Any other novel techniques is there, non-invasive model is available to determine this those parameters means we can implement all those things. All those things you can fill on the 8th part. Justify your rational usage of animals. And last in 8th part, you have to prove that you don't repeat of research. So mostly most of the IAEC application forms has been reviewed means it's a repetition work. So if any repetition is there means you have to justify. So mostly it's not being repeated work. Even it is repeated work means you have to justify. Sir, in previous work we have done only for the basic animal studies with the biochemical parameters. So for these studies we can go for the cellular level mechanism, molecular level of mechanism we are going to explore. So for that reason we have to repeat the studies. So for the sake, you have to add some basic background data, information to share those fellows to get the easy approval process. So 8th is over. The 9th is description of procedure. So this is no alternatives there. So you have to know the each and every part, because you can get all the animals, data, animals, all those things. How you are going to treat, which kind of drug you are going to use, how much dose, how much amount of drug you have to administer, from which side, how much volume. So even you can go for the biochemical parameters, you can collect the blood, which means how much blood you are going to collect, from which side. So all those things you have to know the basic informations, otherwise better you don't know anything else, better you have to discuss with expert in pharmacology, otherwise veterinary service. Because simply in a protocol they can mention, sir, I am going to administer the 2 ml of drug through IV in rat. It's possible. In IV, or even rat tail vein, it's not possible to administer 2 ml of drug in a single stage. So this kind of error has been resolved. Better if you don't know anything in this part, better you have to discuss with any pharmacologist with plenty of research data or literature data. You have to discuss with either pharmacologist or veterinary. So no alternative for this part. So next one is 10th part. Here also the same. repetition of work. You have to mention if any other existing studies, same kind of proposal, same kind of studies anywhere else they have done, means why you have to repeat it? So you have to justify in this part 10. So in 11th, during the protocol, during the procedure, during the experimentation process, the animals is going to feel severe pain, means that time you have to use the analgesics or pain relievers. Either your protocol is going to prohibit the usage of analgesics, otherwise pain reliever, means you have to justify.
சரி, இப்போ வர நீங்க ரொம்ப பாசிட்டிவா மாறிட்டு இருக்கீங்க.
Yeah. So in 11 and 12, part 1 and 11 and 12. So it's going to deal about the which kind of animals pain reliever you are going to use. The same things. During the studies, the animal may face with severe pain. So maybe you can't able to understand how much the pain is faced by the animals. So it's a not acceptable term. Simply they are said is analgesic will interfere my studies. So that reason I am not using the analgesic. It is not a considerable scientific sufficient justifications. You have to justify that which kind of work, how is going to inhibit the analgesic. Okay, that kind of analgesic is going to inhibit your studies, means what is the alternative? What is we can use for any other additional or alternative analgesic we can use. So you have to justify that. And you can't say the animal doesn't show any kind of pain, so I have no need for analgesic, means that's also not appropriate justifications. Because once we are administered the during the experimentation process, it may animal is going for the severe pain, so it's given a different signs. So mostly non-pharmacology fellows, otherwise those who are not familiar with the animal studies, they can't able to identify whether the animal is really going for suffer or not. So for that sake, you have better, you have to get the those parameters, get the information from the animal house in charge or veterinarian or animal handler. So that's in part 11. So in part 12, same thing. During your studies, you have implement for any surgical procedure, means so you have to mention all entire protocol process. Entire protocol. Same how you are treat the human surgery, the same manner you have to follow the procedure. You have to explain entire details. So what is the pre-operative care? What is the post-operative care? What are the monitoring is there? How you are, where you have to do the surgery? Whether it is a aseptic condition or not? Who is going to do the surgery? Whether the person is qualified? Whether the person is an animal veterinarian? So plenty of data is there. So you have to give all those data. So once we can go for the surgical procedure, we can give you all those data. At the same time, best practice, once we can go for a pre-operative procedure, means anesthetic means we can use the analgesic and pre-emetic surgical procedures. So all those things you have to follow. And the operative procedure, the same thing. So you can't explain simple lines. So I have going to insert the catheter into the internal carotid artery. I am going to measure the hypertension or blood pressure. You don't write like this. Which animal you are going to use? What is the pre-operative procedure? Whether the food has been withheld or water will be given, what is the procedure? Which anesthesia you are going to use? How much dose? Either it's a injectable, otherwise it's a volatile anesthetics. So that's also is not enough. During surgery, you have to follow some basic process. So whether the eye is given, avoid the dryness, you can give the wetted saline and cotton, otherwise ophthalmic ointment, otherwise drops. So all those details you can given, you can justify CPC members. I'm going to do the animal experimentation surgical procedure. I am never going for the suffer the animal. So you can give all the procedure. The same manner you can give the post-operative procedure also. So once you can give the after done the surgery, you have to warm the animals. You can use the water bed. Otherwise, during the recoverization process, you can give the saline. Even after done the surgery, you can switch her. You have to closely monitor the animals, at least up to wound healing process. So these are the post-operative procedure, pre-operative procedure. You can give this data, means they can easily convenience. So you can know those parameters. So what the problem mostly in this case? Pain-related behavior for the rodents. It's very, very difficult to understand whether the animal is really going to suffer or not. So for those cases, I have represent some pictures. So maybe those who are done in animal studies, they can see this kind of pictures. So roughed hair coat, co-4 documentation, chromatocria, and hinged posture, torticollis. This is the torticollis and conjunctivitis. So these are the signs which indicate animal is in sick conditions. So most of them we have seen in these red tears. Animals is having a red tears, which indicate animals under high stress conditions. And also, if once you are going for the surgical procedure, means animals showing the this hunched posture is always going to stand on the hunched posture. It indicates the animal is under severe pain. So that same manner, different types of signs will be produced by the animals. It's very difficult to understand by the non-scientific fellows. So these are the things. So okay, once you have done the surgery, animals suffer. What is the end? Human endpoint. So that means nothing but once the animal is going to face severe pain, means what is the end? So you can remove the animal. Once this kind of symptoms, once hunched posture is there, the animal will be under the severe pain, means what decision you are going to take. So you have to withdraw the animal from the experimental groups. Otherwise, you can either it is possible to give any analgesic to reduce the pain. Otherwise, no chance the animal is under severe stress. We don't go for the suffer the animals, so we can go for euthanasia. So you have to decide, you have to explain all those things. You know all those things when you are going to fill this what shoulder. So these are the things is done by monitoring plan. So it must be sufficient. So this is the things. Once you have done the surgery, at least you can go for measure the 3 parameters, either respiratory rate and reflex heart rate. So at least you have to measure these 3 parameters. You can understand and monitor the animals after the surgical procedure, whether the animal is in good condition, otherwise it's not suffering surgical procedure. You have to. So at last, you have to decide human endpoints. So the same things. You can't able to relieve. You can't able to remove the animals. You can't able to give any analgesics. Animals are under severe stress or pain, means you have to go for human endpoints. So what are the human endpoints? Once post-operative, post-experimentation is there. Part 3. What are the things is possible? Animal may be sacrificed. That means euthanasia. Otherwise, euthanasia means, if it is euthanized, means how we are going to dispose the carcass. If it is animal is not sacrificed, euthanized means how you are going to rehabilitate those animals. So euthanasia method, don't write simply at the end of 6 months, we are going to collect the blood parameters. So for that, we are going to sacrifice the animals. Don't write like this. These animals will be euthanized. You have to mention which kind of euthanasia methods you are going to involve for those animals. So here example I have mentioned barbiturate at the dose of 200 kmg, but we can use the xylazine ketamine cocktail. Otherwise, inhalation anesthesia method, we can go for the euthanasia. So its euthanasia method is made differ. It's based upon the different species and age, and based upon your protocol. So many euthanasia method is available. So euthanasia, it means nothing but, you can use the terms. You can say it's nothing but it's induce the death with minimal or no pain or without stress for the animals. So various method, euthanasia method is we can follow. So it must be accepted by the IAEC. Pharmacological and various chemical methods is available, and physical mechanical methods also available. It's differ. It's based upon the animal species. It may differ. So once you have done the euthanasia, you have to confirm whether animal is really dead or not. So you have confirmed with the circulatory failure or respiratory failure. You can measure the body temperature. Once the animal is dead, the body temperature is going to take it. So you have to confirm whether the animal is dead or not. This is the 13th part A is over. Okay, animal has been euthanized or killed. So how you are going to do this? In olden days, they have to bury and we are follow the burial method. Later, they are going to follow the incineration. Nowadays, most of the institute, they have collaborated with or tie up with the agencies. They are going to dispose the animals as per the environmental policy. Based upon the state, they can go for the disposal. Okay. Once the animal is never killed or never euthanized, you are going to do some basic experiments like CNS activity by act of photometer, or skeletal muscle relaxant activity by rotator apparatus. Means for those animals, no need for sacrifice procedures. So for those cases, once you have done the experiments, the animals must be allowed into the rehabilitation process. To rehabilitate the animals to become a normal, if it is possible, you can reuse the animals also possible. So this is the part. Then part 14. This is covers the transportation process. So the same thing here also, the scenario is going to differ. Once you have brought the animals, if in your same in-house, if your animals are having a great relations, you can brought the animals from the same in-house, means no need for internal transport, simple. If you are external transport from the animal house, you are going to transport from various places. You are going to evaluate something else is available, sources available for various places. Otherwise, you can brought the breeders from the far place. Means the transportation must be done with approved manner. So you don't write, I have a own vehicle, I am going to transport the animals from the animal house into my laboratory by own vehicle, otherwise you don't write like that. Here so much of restriction is there. So I want to explain, share one experience during my PhD program. In our animal house, shortage of animals there, so we are planning to brought the animals from the Tanvas, Tamil Nadu Veterinary University. So simply my senior is going to the animal house, they give all the application form and pay all those things, sir, we can give the animals. So the fellow in charge, laboratory animal science, the doctor name is Ramesh. He said, I can give. I can't give that. You can arrange an air conditioner vehicle. At least you can arrange air conditioner vehicle, then only I can give that. So later you can book on air conditioner vehicle. So for the transportation of animals from the Chennai to Chidambaram. So he is going to Chidambaram to Chennai is a local bus, but the animals must be transported into the air conditioner vehicle. So based upon the breeders, the guidelines is that once you are going to transport the animals, you have to follow what are the guidelines you have to follow. So the next one is transportation is over. The next column is 15th part. So this part is going to deal about the during your studies, either you have to use any hazards, biological hazard agents. Either it is a radionuclide, otherwise it's a microorganism or biological infectious agents, or recombinant DNA product, whatever it is. If it is a hazard product, means you have to explain all those things in part 15. So here, the same thing. If you are in your protocol, if you are using any chemical substance, it's harmful for the humans, means it's considered a hazardous substance. So for those cases, you have to contact the occupational health and safety officer. You have to, from the supplier, you have to collect the safety data sheets. Based upon that, you can give the overture. That means occupational health and safety officer. You can get the clearance. Then you can do all those studies. Still, we have covered all the things part. So last one, this is special condition. So whenever you are doing the animal experimentations, we will give some environment enrichment is promoted. What is environment enrichment promoted? Enrichment means normally whenever you are using some kind of animals, the normal behavior is the animal is having a normal behavior. So exploration behavior, otherwise is having a biting behavior. So you have to maintain those animals in such a normal behavior. For those purposes, we can give some enrichment objects. So like cotton rolls, otherwise cubes, rollers, wooden sticks, whatever it is. So it's going to giving animals is going to adapt or acclimatize into its behavior is a normal. So this kind of enrichment materials is giving for the better results. But this enrichment material is not mandatory based upon the studies. Maybe any psychotic behavioral studies, you can go for novel objective exploration studies. For those cases, you can give the enrichment object, means it may produce false positive results. For those cases, you avoid the enrichment objects. But apart from those studies, most of the studies we can give the enrichment objects for the easy adaptation of process. So if you are complete all those things, if you have filled the part 15 up to 15th part, you fill all those things, means finally you can give the declaration. Sir, I am going to do the all those things. You can declaration sign. Then you have to submit. So once before. So once when you are going to fill the applications, if you know all those things, means you can avoid the errors, avoid the percentage of rejection from the IAEC. So once you have submit all those things, you can get the IAEC certificate. You can start your work. So this is the model outline diagram. So once you can get the approval, you can treat the animals, daily clinical observations and weekly observation studies. At the end, you can go for the necropsy, collect the biological parameters, histopathology, clinical pathology interpretations, all those things you can done. But this entire protocol justification you have to give in your application form itself. If you are be thorough with all those things, you never going to stuck in any part of or any time of your studies. But the take-home message is, whenever you can go for animal studies, you have to follow 3 RS principle or 4 RS or 5 RS. What is this? Reduction of possible means you reduce the animals, refine the animal or replacement of the animals. And if it is animal is not sacrificed means rehabilitate the animals, and rehabilitated animals, it's possible means it's allowed to reuse. So you have to follow 3 RS or 4 RS, 5 RS principle. Okay. Sir, you said all those things. What are the background? Still, non-scientific background, science background, non-science background persons is capable to do the animal studies. Even you are belong to science background, sir, I am a pharmacy graduate or MPharm graduate, I am a different departments. How we can do all those things? How we can get all those things? Means, if it is possible, so once you are going to do the animal experimentation, if it is possible, before doing the animal experimentation, you have to train yourself. You are going to attend any training programs, animal handling training programs. So various agencies, various colleges, they are regularly conduct the training programs, animal handling training programs. You have to attend the training program. You know the basic things. In Tamil Nadu, authorized trainer is Chanuas, Tamil Nadu Veterinary Animal Science University. So they are periodically, every year, at least before COVID, I don't know what's the current situation, before COVID, periodically, every 6 months, they are conducting the training program. Every year or every 2 years, they have conducted the FELASA accredited certificate programs, 15-day certificate program they have conducted. So if it is possible, you can participate those training programs. You have to gain some basic knowledge, animal laboratory animal science knowledge. Then you can go for the animal studies means it's very better. Okay, you said so many things, sir. Whether it's mandatory, because most of the scientific breakthroughs, it comes from the mistakes. Example, sulfonamide, penicillin, DSS. So all those breakthroughs are coming out from the mistakes or errors or accidental discoveries. I want to explain on a better example that Elmer McCallum is the first person is doing a nutritional research in mice in 1908. So he never brought the animals from the authorized center. He's never brought the maintain all those enrichment program. He never maintained the animals in a specific condition. He's never in the IAEC form, nothing. But he having a basic knowledge, he brought the animals from this just a simple pet store, Chicago pet store, for just $6 only. He have studied. The nutritional research is published. That's also published. Based upon nutritional research, we said that vitamin A is very mandatory. Not only he's called as a doctor vitamin. He is a person who's done the various studies. He's revealed the importance of vitamins in our life. So those research is done in animals, which is not coming from IAEC, CPCA, Allah guidelines, nothing. So that kind of research also done. It's also proposed. But whether it is correct, that's a question. That is happening in 1980. No regulation is there. The same regulation we are following means each and every person, they have brought the animals from the local store, they have brought in house, they can do something else, but we can't able to publish. So For that sake, we have to follow the international regulations and guidelines. We Indian citizens, we have to follow the CPC guidelines. Based upon that, entire globe they are having various regulations and guidelines available. So I have simply mentioned some guidelines as all those things. So these are the guidelines is giving the idea about the ethical procedures, what we have to adopt into the animal study. So ALA guidelines and the Federation of European Laboratory Animal Science and Association. For each and every country, they are having a LASA. In India also, LASA India branch is available. So you can register yourself. You can periodically get the notifications. You can get upskill your knowledge, all these things. You can follow the knowledge. So universally or globally, still I can say globally, we can use the OECD guidelines for the various purposes. It's chemical substance or if it is health effects means we can go for the OECD guidelines. So these are the detailed guidelines. This has been explained to the my fellow colleague Dr. Karthikeyan is going to explain all these things in next session. So here itself I can close the session. So I hand over the session to Gopika for the questions, open session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. S. Muthukrishnan sir, for your valuable and informative session.
So before the conclude ceremony, I want to share, first of all, I want to thank this program convener, Ramanathan sir, and the coordinator, Ram Praveen Kumar and Deepthi madam, for the wonderful coordination, and also the members who was working in backend, Lepin, Gopika, Kritika, for wonderful cooperation and wonderful coordination. So I thank all of them with the wonderful opportunity to share us, both of myself and Karthik sir, to share their experience with this relevant topic. Thank you. So I will hand out the session to Gopika. Gopika, you can go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Muthukrishnan sir, for your words. And once again, thank you, Karthik sir and Muthukrishnan sir, for the informative session you had provided.